Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello, and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. I am so very excited to introduce today's Silhouette of Success VIP featured guest. She has quickly become one of the most admired women in my world. Her warm and welcoming presence, she's so approachable. Her business savvy is evident and abundant. Plus, her enthusiastic dedication and commitment in many advocacy roles within our community. Throughout her career, she has earned and received significant honors and achievements. So please help me welcome Becky Renfro Borbolla, Senior Vice President of Renfro Foods, Inc., founder and president of Women Steering Business. Hello, Becky.
Hi, Amber. How are you?
I am well. So glad you're here with us and spending a little bit of your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. So as you share your Silhouette of Success story with us, we are so tickled that you're here. Help our audience understand a little bit more by sharing and illustrating the early shaping of your Silhouette of Success. Maybe talk a little bit about your background, how you maybe got to the point you're at in your career. Share.
Well, typical. Grew up in Fort Worth, went to high school. I knew I did not want to be a school teacher, and I wasn't really sure, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? And so I went to Tarrant County Junior College and took a few classes, and I took an accounting class, accounting 1 and 2, and fell in love with accounting and thought, okay, that's the direction I need to go for a business degree. And so I completed 2 years at Tarrant County College, and then I was working. So I went to school at night and completed my degree finally in 91. It takes a long time when you're trying to go at night, but I completed my business administration degree through LeTourneau University. I had a significant change in 84. I was working for an oil company, and I was young, I was mid-20s, and there were some vicious ladies in the company that were out to get me, and so I was fired, and it was devastating to me. I was like, I'm fired. I didn't do anything wrong. So I started looking for another job, and my dad approached me and said, have you ever thought about coming into the business, Renfro Foods? And I said, well, no. I said, I didn't think, I don't want to work in production, and I didn't think there'd be a place for me. And he said, yes, come into the office and start learning everything you can. So I started, I worked in the office, and I actually worked in production a few days. So I understood how all the cook processing worked. I learned to drive a forklift. I learned to move pallets, which I was like, okay, I cannot do this on a daily basis, but it was fun to come in and learn every aspect of the business. And so in 1985, that was June of 85, I started my career with Renfro Foods, and I work alongside my brother and my cousin now, and we've been running the business for about 10 years now. But the interesting part is my dad and my uncle who ran the business, they made all three of us start literally at the bottom. We weren't given a title, and we were not given stock in the company. We had to earn all of that. And actually that, gave us a really great work ethic, and we appreciate everything we have today because we worked for it.
What a gift to work for it, right? Sometimes I don't know that it's appreciated in those moments, but to look back and reflect life lessons that were shared and people are a little bit more firm, and it does create those moments of gratitude.
Yes, it does.
And it's interesting. What you shared was a question in what you just talked about with your past position. And that was a question we'd ask later on, but I'm just going to deviate and go right into that because so many of our audience participants also encounter things like that. So not to dwell on it, but the question really was there ever a specific moment or time in your career, professional life that forced you to take a monumental shift within that? And how did you grow from it? So look at the growth that you achieved because that nasty experience happened, right?
Yes. I look back now and, at the time I thought it was so devastating but it actually put me on the path of my career now. And it helped me understand, at the time when I went off to college, the business wasn't doing as well as it was in later years. And so my dad didn't have money to send me to college and live in the dorm. And I watched all my girlfriends go off and get to do that. And, I didn't realize, no one told me, hey, you can get a student loan and do all of this. I would have done that in a heartbeat, gotten a student loan, TCU, or I really wanted to go to Texas Tech because a lot of my girlfriends were going there. But that's one of my suggestions is, even if you do it the slow way that I did it, get your college degree. It really makes a difference. And I think it gives you a confidence that it just gave me a confidence. Maybe it doesn't everyone else, but it gave me a confidence that I could go out into the business world and say, hey, I have this degree, I worked for it. And I think it definitely helped me in Renfro Foods as far as learning the business and just going out into the world. I just think that's the huge thing that I would tell every young lady: get your college degree.
That's valuable advice. And it's interesting. I hear just in the amount of what you shared so far is you have a significant persistence about you. Right? And because you've talked about, a couple of things, 3 different points to where you've gone back after it. And that is amazing, not surprising, but amazing. So looking back, you just shared some more advice with us, but looking back, is there another piece of career advice that someone maybe shared with you along the way that you keep close to your heart or invaluable? Is there something anyone shared with you along your journey?
When I started in the food industry and I started traveling to some of the food trade shows that we do, I looked around and there were not a lot of women. It was definitely a male-dominated world. And I started getting on several board of directors that were tied to the food industry. And I had a woman say to me, show up and dance, don't sit quietly at the table. And I think that is huge, especially for women in the world today. If you're sitting on a board or you're sitting in a business meeting, speak up. Don't sit there quietly at the table. So that was huge advice that I've really took to heart and I've tried to use. Sometimes it's scary when you go into a room, especially if it's a board and it's male dominated. It can be a little intimidating sometimes for women. And so I thought that was the best advice I was ever given.
I just wrote that down. I'm a note taker. And, I chuckle too, because I know we're going to be able to always play these over and over and take all the notes we need. But in the moment when someone shares it, just like you just did, I write it down because then it resonates, I think, even deeper sometimes. But that is phenomenal advice. And you're right, it can be intimidating. And for you to have the courage to do that, do you find, has it strengthened in you over the years? Is it easier for you now that you've done it several times?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to tell myself, no question is a dumb question. And so you go into a meeting, and if you really are questioning something, ask. Because so many people will go into a business meeting or a board meeting and they'll think, well, they all know what they're doing, so I'm not going to question this. Question it. It's okay to question it. especially if there's something in the finances you're looking at and you sit on a board of directors, that is your fiduciary responsibility. Question the finances. Why does it look this way?
Wow, love that. Strength and courage. Ooh, I love it. I love it. So, Becky, what is your favorite or special accomplishment over your career? What are you most proud of? And talk a little bit about what that means to you.
Well, there's a couple of things. One was Women Steering Business. It's very close to my heart, and you definitely are a member of our group, and I love that you joined this fabulous group of ladies. But my husband was in the syndicate, and I went to the Fort Worth Stock Show sale, and I was sitting by him, and I looked around, and I said, there's a group of ladies buying lambs, and there's a bunch of men in this arena buying steers, but there's so many young ladies showing steers. I should start a group of ladies that throw in our own personal money. I don't want to be a fundraising group. And we go to the sale and we support young women buying steers because, when I was growing up, the biggest way, there was academic scholarships, but then a lot of it was, you could join a beauty pageant and win scholarship money, but there was not a lot of women weren't playing sports a lot. We had cheerleading and drill team, choir and band. We did have a girls' track and basketball, but that was it. Soccer wasn't big yet when I was in junior high and high school for females to play. And so I looked around and these young ladies realized I can raise an animal and take it to the sale and I can get, anywhere 10 to $200,000 if you have the grand champion. And I loved talking to these young women. And so my husband encouraged, he said, start it. So I asked a few girlfriends, all of us, we always go to our girlfriends when we want to do something fabulous. And they were like, yes, I'll be a part of this if you start it. And so 2013, I jumped into the ring. The sale was February 7th. I jumped in January 7th, sent out an email to 75 female girlfriends and business acquaintances and just said, this is my thoughts, my idea. Would you want to join? And I said, to join, it'll be $500. And I got 75 women said yes. So we went to the sale in a month later and we supported one young lady. We had $45,000. And after that, I had women coming out of the blue saying, oh, I want to be a part of this. This is fabulous what you're doing. So we worked really hard. I had my friend Janet Hahn worked. She's an attorney and she helped us get our 501c3 and we set up a board of directors and then we started planning events. And the next year, I forget how much we went to the sale. I believe it was $150,000 and we've taken up to $300,000 to the sale. And what's unique, this is not fundraising. These are women writing a check out of their personal account to support these young girls. So we have a few events a year now, and we have an admin that works for us that kind of took, the first 3 or 4 years I was doing all the admin work and everything. And so it was great to be able to have the funds now to hire someone to help us. And we have sponsors for our events. And it's just a great group of women. And since 2013, we have given $1.5 million to young women, which is huge.
Drum roll. Right. Okay. So it is breathtaking what you have accomplished. This is what's so cool about sharing your story, because you initially talked about the advice that you were given. Show up and dance. Don't sit quietly at the table. You didn't sit quietly during that sale, during your observation that, hey, wait a minute. And what a great tie-in, how you pulled back and you reviewed beauty pageant scholarship opportunities. But what about everything else? There's multifaceted young ladies out there. So, wow, Becky. I mean, I knew a lot, but I didn't know all of this. And yes, it is by far one of the best blessings, both that you have provided, and you have changed so many lives. And I would say women and young women. And I see a lot of men, their eyes sparkle out of giddy pride when they kind of watch, especially when, they have a significant other involved in the organization. But it is so fun to watch everybody's reaction to the Women's Hearing Business group. So you have just done remarkable work.
Well, and it's not just been me. I mean, I've had a great group of women, and Amber, you're on our board of directors. We have a great board of directors, and everybody pitches in to get the work done. So it's just not me alone. I had an idea, and thank goodness I had a lot of women that wanted to support and helped move everything along. So it's, I don't ever think that anything's accomplished with one person doing anything by themselves. You've got to have a great group of girlfriends or team members beside you making everything happen.
That's right. And that support network. And again, kudos to husband for saying, go for it, do it, right? Without our support network of whoever it is, a strong support network, I agree with you. It is teamwork in so many aspects, but this one is, this one is yours. So when you are looking at whether it was this amazing accomplishment or different goals within whatever you're working on, what positive adjustments have you made in your life or environment to help support your goals and dreams? Because our audience is always looking for uplifting motivation or maybe different ideas that works for somebody else. Is there anything that you could share with us?
There's been several people that I've really watched and admired, and one of them was Jackie Kennedy Onassis. I watched her. I was a little girl when President Kennedy was assassinated. Actually, I'm the same age as Caroline Kennedy, and I was this 5-year-old little girl watching, going, "Wow, how sad," And I watched her. She was a woman that she wanted to protect her children, and she did everything in her power to protect them. And I know, some people questioned when she married Onassis, but she has a book of poems. I love that book of poems, and it's some of her favorite poems, and I love to read that. But I also, of course, I'm very strong in my faith, and I love reading the Bible, but I love a great Bible study with girlfriends. And, I think everyone has to take that time in your life, because we all go 900 miles a minute. And I don't know if I'm really answering your question, but you have to take that time to have time for yourself, whether it's, even a book club, go get a massage, reading a great book. That's the one thing with COVID I've missed. I was traveling a lot before COVID. And so I always had time on the airplane to catch up with either whether it was a love story or a drama or murder mystery, some great book, or just I love reading books about people's lives. And so I've really missed that, because I'm starting to realize with COVID, I needed to sit back and make more time for myself. And my husband, our lives have changed. I think everybody's lives has changed, but, we're home more. People started cooking at home more. Because we were, for a while, nothing was open. And so I think that's the thing that women lose. And I have, with COVID, it's made me look back and realize I really, really love the time I have at home with my husband. And we have a sweet little mini golden doodle named Lily. And I just, now that things are starting to open up, and all of a sudden, if I get 2 or 3 things going in the evenings, it almost kind of freaks me out, because I'm like, wait, I got to have time at home. I got to have me time, or even just family time. So I think COVID's kind of helped a lot of people realize what's more important than going 900 miles an hour.
Yes. We know how it impacted all of us. No matter, I think, what you went through or are currently going through, if you do the 2 columns with the plus and minus or pros and cons of different lessons or things that, outcomes because of it, I think I always find more in my plus column, very similar to what you shared. you talk about what you enjoy doing, especially in your me time when you're reading. So do you have favorite authors or genres? You mentioned the book of poems, which of course I'm going to look that up. But what else, do you have inspirational, of course, the Bible. That's a big one. That's a big one. What else do you, resources or books or authors or genres help motivate and encourage you?
I like reading a lot of murder mysteries and things. So James Patterson is one that I read a lot of his books. But as far as motivational, Jesus is Calling, that book of daily devotionals, I love that book. It's a short, there's a devotion every time and there's scriptures and it's a really, quick read in the morning. You can get up and do it before you get out of bed or right before you go to bed in the evening. But it's a great just reminder of what's important in life. So I love that book. I've got Michelle Obama's book that I'm reading right now. I like reading about people's lives and what happened in their life that put them on the course that they ended up going, the road they ended up going down, and what inspired them, what tribulations and stuff that they had to go through. So I just love reading about other people's lives, and hopefully when I find something or read, that it inspires me, that it maybe I find something that I can incorporate in to make my life better.
We're motivated by others, that's for sure, as far as the uplifting portion, right?
Yeah.
The encouraging factor of that. Well, Becky, we're going to take a quick break to hear from this episode's sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Is it time to sell your home? Build that dream home? Right size? Or are you ready to invest in real estate? Couture Real Estate Firm is a local female-owned independent brokerage laser-focused on services exclusively tailored to our clients' real estate goals. With our forward-thinking business model, we have a fully mobile, luxury real estate concept allowing convenience, flexibility, efficiency for our clients in style. Amber Weitzer, broker-owner of Couture Real Estate Firm, has over 20 years in the real estate industry and is a second-generation broker. She provides straightforward business practices, integrity, and intelligence with a commitment to a high-touch, consistent customer service experience. We take great pride in our reputation as a strong, referral-based brokerage. Discretion, tenacity, respect, and proactive business practices have earned Couture Real Estate Firm a loyal, repeat client business with a trusted global partner network. We strive for ultimate client satisfaction with successful results, doing it with class, consciousness, and a little avant-garde. In addition to serving our clients and vendor partners, we are extremely honored to be actively engaged in supporting the communities we serve by promoting small businesses, schools, and nonprofits. Real estate is direct sales business at its core, and we are highly trained sales professionals with the Mike Ferry organization, adding dimension to the industry. Passionate about customer service, dedicated to client satisfaction, and driven to achieve successful results for our clients. Call Couture Real Estate Firm today at 817-233-7239 to discuss your real estate goals.
All right, and we are back. So, as we talk to you a little bit about your resources of motivation, encouragement, and things that help you relax and unwind and feed your soul, when do you find you are at your best?
Well, I'm not really a morning person, but with work and things, I get up early, and I have a puppy dog that I have to let out. And mornings, I feel like I get the most done. I get up, I get to the office by 7:30, and by the time I go have lunch, then things start dwindling. But I get the most work done, the best work I think done in the morning hours. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's funny because something I always, like to say, okay, and I'll reframe it. How about this? We can do it this way too, because the alarm clock goes off and a work day kicks in. And so what does your day look like? Are you, sounds like you have a little bit of a routine, but are you more structured once you get into the office, or is it more of a spontaneous?
I come to the office thinking I know how the day's going to go, and one little thing can change, and it'll change my whole entire day, which actually makes it fun. So it keeps the job interesting because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, breaks up that monotony.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I think, I'm going to work on this today, and no, you're not.
Keeps you on your toes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So it's interesting. I was reviewing, of course, your amazing bio, and I love how, whether it's you or somebody wrote at the a part of it, a saucy fact. And I hesitated with incorporating saucy into the intro. I thought, well, are we going, strictly professional? Are we going to, tie it in a little bit? And you touched on it a little bit earlier about maybe early on the male dominated with you doing your travels and maybe at the trade shows or different groups that you were involved in the industry. But talk a little bit about your exploration with travel and all the places that you've been.
Well, it's been really, really fun. I started pursuing, Mrs. Renfro's. Took us about 15 years to get in Canada, and then it took a long time for the business to grow, but we were doing really well in Canada. And so I started working with an exporter, and, was like, I want to grow. I want to be in other countries, not just Canada. And so I started working on our international sales, which has taken me to one of my favorite trips. I went to Hong Kong. Loved Hong Kong.
Wow.
It was such a beautiful city. And then went to Australia. So we have distribution in Australia, and went to England, and I've done shows in Paris, France, and Cologne, Germany. And I just love traveling, and they're brutal. It's 5 days of standing on your feet, and their shows are like 9 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's brutal, but I still love it. It's kind of funny. My cousin and them are like, you can go do that. We don't want to do that, but I love it. And it's just so interesting, the people that you meet. And I was lucky to have a friend here in Fort Worth that introduced me to some of her friends in Hong Kong. And so I had one day to go sightseeing, and they picked me up and took me to all the fabulous sites and things to do. And we had fabulous food and restaurants that I wouldn't have known about that they took me to. So that was really fun. And then talking to them about, okay, what does your family do for fun? You get home from work, what's your evening like? Or you all decide, I want to go do something fun. So it was really interesting to hear about their lifestyles and what they think is fun to do, and what do they do on the weekend and everything. So I can't wait for this COVID thing and all the countries to open back up so I can start traveling again.
Okay, but I have to ask, what do they do? How does it work?
Oh, well, one of them, actually.
Yeah, you've got to expand on that one.
I know. Well, one of the young men, and I thought this was so interesting. I said, so what does your family do? It's the evening, you've had dinner, and you want to do something fun. He said they loved going to the grocery store together. So the whole family would go to the grocery store, and they would just go and take the time to look at the different foods that were in the store. I just thought that was so interesting.
Isn't that cool?
I know, because when we go to the grocery store, we're on a mission.
Right. Get in, get out, right?
Right. Yeah. But I do love it when I have a little bit of time to explore and look at different foods in the store and see what kind of cheeses and what kind of pasta and stuff that they carry. And of course, I always go down the salsa aisle. Anywhere that I travel, all of us, we all do store checks. Okay, do they have our product? Whose product do they have? So my husband it's always like, honey, we have to stop. I have to do a store check.
Well, so I have to, yes, true confession. We also will do the culinary explore down the salsa aisle. Because my husband's like, okay, there it is. How about this one? Have you tried this one yet? Of your Mrs. Renfro's? I'm like, no, let's do it. So yes. Oh, that is too fun. The grocery store. How interesting is that?
Yeah.
Love hearing about the cultures. Am I to understand you might be headed to Korea, perhaps? Is that
Yes, we actually, I was at one show. This was in Paris, France, and this lady, it was really interesting. So she came up and had 3 people with her, and the next day she came back and had 3 more people with her, and the next day the whole entourage showed up, and her boss, there were like 12 people standing in front of me, and she's talking to him. She could speak English, and so she would interpret for him. And he was the CEO of eMart, which is like our Walmarts. So they took in our product, and we're still in eMart in South Korea, and which is bad. I have not gotten there yet. I keep saying that's one of my trips I want to make, is to go to South Korea and actually see our product in their stores. But they're as big as our Walmart here is in the U.S.
Wow. That is really neat.
Yeah,
How exciting.
Really story.
Yeah, that is a fun story. I mean, I could visualize it. Okay, there's one, and then there's, and then Becky's like, well, okay, let's do this.
Yes. So I knew by the time the third day when she brought the CEO and all the vice presidents of the company and stuff to the booth, I thought, okay, this is good. She really likes our product, and this is going to be a great sell, and I'm going to pay for my travels for this show. And it did. It was like, yay.
How thrilling.
That's always great. That's always, and then the Australia distributor I was in, it was the first time I did a show in Cologne, Germany. And the very first day, this young man comes running up to me and says, I love Mrs. Renfro's. I'm so excited you're here at the show. I'm a distributor in Australia. I want to sell your products in Australia. And that was 10 years ago. And Adam we've become friends. He's still selling our products. I've gone to Australia, and he's taken me around and shown me the stores that we're in. And his wife, we had dinner with his wife, and now they had a little baby. And so now, you become a part of the family, which I love.
These connections are invaluable on a relationship basis, and the things that you get to experience, and what a blessing. Forget those oil and gas ladies.
I know.
Wow. You're going to need to write a travel book with your experiences, your saucy experiences. Oh my goodness. Well, Becky, it has been a true joy visiting with you. And as we wrap up our visit, and in keeping the promise to share intentional inspiration with our audience, do you have a piece of key go-to advice that you'd like to share with us?
Like I said earlier, show up and dance. Don't sit quietly at the table. No matter where you are, just show up and dance.
I love that. All right, my lady, where can our audience go to either find and connect with you or support you and your company on your socials and your continued success?
Mrs. Renfro's website is mrsrenfros.com. And if they'd like more information about Women Steering Business, it's womensteeringbusiness.com, or you can use org as well. So I'd love anybody that's interested. If you go to Mrs. Renfro's website and hit contact us, it'll come straight to me, because we like a Renfro family member talking to all of our customers and helping them out. So you always get a personal reply from myself or my cousin Doug.
Amazing. And we will be sure and share those resources with the audience. So Becky, once again, thank you for sharing your silhouette of success with us today. It has been a sincere pleasure.
Thank you, Amber.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out, and join us for all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. Amber would love to hear from you, and you can find her on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or head over to amberweitzer.com. Let's connect. Help us all shine and leave us a review too. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at amberweitzer.com. We are honored, humbled, and full of joy that you've tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer Podcast, Silhouettes of Success.